Hello, dear friends of Love for Volleyball, Amor por el Volleyball. I have the pleasure and honor to speak today with a former volleyball player from Russia, competed in 3 consecutive Olympic Games, won twice the silver medal, won the European Championship 4 times, the World Grand Prix 3 times, and several medals, World Championship and many other medals. She was among the best attackers in each tournament. And even she received in 2002 the best spikers of the year. So it's for me a great honor to be able to speak today with Elizaveta Bracht-Tishchenko, who is currently speaking with me about his volleyball life. Hello, Elizaveta, how are you?
Hello, Alfredo. Thank you very much for this kind invitation. It's a pleasure is mine. And thank you for this opportunity to talk about volleyball.
Fantastic. First of all, Elizaveta, please tell me when and why did you choose or started playing volleyball?
Well, it was a rather natural choice for me because my father is or was, unfortunately, he passed away last year, was a former volleyball player. He also competed for at the time, Soviet Union national team. He took part at several international events, including World Championship in Paris, 1956, and he won a bronze medal. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, volleyball was not part of the Olympic Games at the time. The volleyball was only introduced to the Olympics in 1964, and therefore he couldn't take part in the Olympics. But obviously, I have this, it's a family, so it was rather unavoidable. And my father was a very tall man at that time. He was nearly 2 meters, 198, and he was considered one of the tallest volleyball players in the 50s. And obviously, I inherited his genes. I'm very tall as well. And when I was a little girl, I spent a lot of time with him. He finished his career as a volleyball player rather early, and he became an engineer, so he had another career, but he always stayed passionate about volleyball. And he would play, in the evening with the friends. He would engage everyone. He was so passionate about the games that other people who would never in their life would touch the ball would immediately fall in love with the game. And I was around as a kid, so ball was kind of a natural toy for me. So this is why it was a rather easy choice for me. My mom tried, to maybe to try other sports or activities like music or tennis, but then, eventually we got back to volleyball, and this became a passion of my life.
Volleyball was in your blood, absolutely. And tell me, please, did you start playing at school, in a club? How was your history at the beginning?
I have to say, I grew up in Cuba.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When I was a kid. Mm-hmm. My father worked there.
Yeah.
And we returned to Soviet Union in 1984. I was 9, nearly 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it was a good time to start any sport or activities. And probably I could have started even earlier, but since we lived abroad, it was difficult to practice volleyball there for me. Also, Cuba at the time was an amazing, nation and power in volleyball. Yeah. And then as from this moment, there was this decision taking that I should, join a club, one can say, but the system in Soviet Union at that time offered lots of opportunities for children to practice any sport, and it was for free. We tried volleyball, and then when I was 11, I joined a special sport class in the normal school, which was kind of giving opportunity to the kids to combine schooling activities and sport. So we were practicing twice a day, and our school lessons would start at 11 instead of like 8. That's other normal school would do. So this was kind of already, a semi-professional, if you want, introduction into sport. And I loved this from the first moment because I loved the game, and it gave me opportunity to do both study and practice. And we already traveled during holidays or weekends, played all kind of local competitions. So it was a very good, let's say, opportunity given to children to practice sport.
Okay, fantastic. And did you have my next question is about the people young sportwomen admire. For example, in Chile in the 80s, we admired, for example, the players from Argentina, from Brazil. I wanted to play like Rahman, like Kirali. I wanted to block like Sabin. Did you have some players that you wanted to emulate, or you thought, okay, she plays so fantastic, or it was natural for you to grow up as a player and be your own player and a figure?
No, of course, I admired. I had my role models. Let's put it this way. In 1988, I was watching as a kid. I was 13. The finals of the Olympic Games in Seoul, and it was a very famous match, USSR versus Peru. Yes. And this match, turned me inside out somehow. I was like so impressed. I was so emotionally, engaged. And what happened? Probably you remember there was a comeback of the team of USSR, and yes, what Kirillova, Ogienko, Smirnova did at this match, they became my heroes. Okay. And I remember watching this match, I, for myself, kind of set a goal that I want to join this team. I want to be part of this national. I want to work with this coach, with Karpol. And I have to say, on the other side of the net, I really admired Gabriela. Yes. So she was also, because I'm a middle blocker, and I look at her, she was very young and tall, and I really admired her play, and this match kind of convinced me, that this is what I wanted to do. So this is what I want to pursue as a goal, to become a player like that and play at the Olympic Games and be like Gabriela or like Ogienko or Chibukin and so on.
Yes, impressive. Both teams were very strong, have fantastic players. As you say, maybe it's one of the best finals in women volleyball of the time. I can't remember many other finals, but this final was very special. Two school of volleyball, the Peruvian school inspired in the Japanese kind of playing, the Russian volleyball school, absolutely European, Russian style of play, and Karpol shouting and making all this impressive actuation performance during the final. So I understand this. It's very, very notorious to understand what your feeling was in this time. And please tell me, you were in this club, you were at a school. How was your evolution as a player? Did you go immediately to the national team, or it was later? Please tell me about this history.
Okay, so well, I was born in Ukraine, in Soviet Union, Kiev.
Yes.
And that's where I actually started playing volleyball.
Okay.
And then there was this moment where my coach noticed that I had certain talents, not only that I was tall, but I was good at what I was doing, because we competed at already, at the city level, at the republic levels, and the whole Soviet Union, among the girls of the same age. And I was actually invited to a selection of the Soviet Union. It was quite something. It's not even just Russia, or it's the entire Soviet Union. And at that time, there were basically two centers of volleyball in Soviet Union. It was Moscow and Sverdlovsk, now it's called Ekaterinburg, where Uralochka is based and coached by famous Nikolai Karpol.
Okay, yeah.
So, and my coach, who's seen this sort of potential and an opportunity, and actually he emigrated to Israel, and he wanted to leave me, in good hands, so to say. And he convinced my parents and myself, but he didn't need to convince me. I was already so much wanted to go. He convinced my parents that for me to continue my professional career, I would need to move to Yekaterinburg, which is Russia. But at that time, it was one country, and so to play for the national team, if I really wanted to do that. So that's how I ended up. When I was 15, I moved to Ekaterinburg, so I continued my schooling there. And already at 16, I was selected to the club, to Uralochka, as a player, young player. And when I was 16, Karpol already took me as a stagiaire. to play with the USSR national team. So, and I participated in a few events. And then Soviet Union collapsed in 91, 92, basically. But I was already there. I was already a member of the national team. And for me, it was a very natural choice to stay. So I'm not I was a citizen of Soviet Union, and then I became, citizen of the Russian national team.
Yes.
So it's kind of a bit tragic now what's going on, because it does affect my family. But, when you look back into the history and through my story, obviously, it's kind of interesting to see, I was born in one country. So my childhood, there was a certain system preparing athletes, and you end up, so to say, in a different country.
Yes.
And that's how we became, with my parents, citizens of different states when Soviet Union collapsed. Yeah.
Yes, I understand this, and I have told many people around me, my family, even my father. He also was a trainer and player too. My brother too. That I always have admired the Russian volleyball, the Soviet volleyball. I don't know. I have the great opportunity to talk with Sabin, Panchenko, Sorokolet, with Selivanov also. And for me, I don't know why, but I always had admired very much what you're doing, what you've done in sports, especially, and I understand this from moving to country, especially Europe is so. South America is more stable. The countries doesn't move so fast as in Europe, or I don't know, but I understand what you're saying about this movement. So, but I always try to make the most respect and about the passion and that you're in Europe and Russia and Ukraine have put into sport and for the respect for sport. And so for me, as I told you outside the camera, it's a great honor to be able to speak with you. Also, you're a gold medalist, an Olympic medalist. You're a European champion. You played with the best of the Russian teams, and also one of your trainer was Karpol. He's a very special person outside Russia. Maybe you understand him better than us. We only see the shouting, but I'm sure that this shouting was only volleyball and very tactical things. I think so. So I wanted to ask you, following our conversation about how was your experience playing in the national team, being a middle blocker. That's a very special and hard position in volleyball, especially today with the libero system. How was it for you to be able to play, for example, 3 Olympic Games and watching that you maybe could achieve gold, but it was very hard. The rivals were very strong. How was it for you to be part of this experience?
Well, since I was a child, that was my dream to become an Olympic champion. I really wanted to participate in the Olympic Games, and for me, Olympic dream was something very special. And of course, you train. It's a journey. It's not like you just go to the Olympics. But I managed to play for the national team during nearly 15 years. So I joined in 1990 as a stagiaire, and I stayed until 2004. And I was very young when I started. So therefore, for Olympics were always a sort of these milestones, the goal you want to win. And by the way, the first Olympics I was actually preparing were already Barcelona 92.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was a part of the team, but very last moment when there was a selection of 12, Karpol, he took young Artamonova, for instance, with the same age. She was 17 when she joined the team. But I didn't go to Barcelona. And for me, it was a very painful experience. I remember that but Karpol told me, you're still young, I need to take more experienced players, so you have chance, everything is ahead of you. I was crying. I was devastated. I thought that was end of the world and I would never in my life participate in the games. And they won silver medals, actually. It was also very close. They played final against Cuba. But 4 years later, I was part of the squad in Atlanta. And of course, we were going, I have to say our journey qualifying to the games was very difficult. Okay. We were jumped on the last, carriage of the train, as we say. It was really, really last opportunity to qualify. But we were very ambitious. We wanted to win the medals, and we had all the chances to win at least the medals. So unfortunately, we lost the semi-final against China, and the match against Brazil for the bronze medal was very close. 2-3 we lost, and again, I was like, for me, it was the end of the world. I have always, the highest goals, and but yeah, so you continue. You have injuries, you have certain difficulties. Sometimes it's not always easy to be in this very close environment with this specific coach. Karpol is not an easy person to be around. But yes, certain things you can't use, certain things you kind of, you don't like, you don't want to accept, but you continue because it's a part of the life of the elite athlete. So either you are part of this and you accept, you work hard, you sacrifice every time, either your health or, possibility to be with your beloved one because you don't see your family, you travel all the time. Sometimes you don't have a possibility to study. So there are lots of sacrifices you have to make to really achieve your goal. And then, okay, if it's once didn't work, second time didn't work, you think, okay, maybe now this is the time. Sydney, I am ready. I'm in my best shape. And then, of course, we were so close to Sydney. We're leading 2-0 against Cuba in the final. It was like, of course, one could think one set and that's it. And you achieved the dream of your life. But again, it didn't work out. And it's very painful experience, of course. But looking back, and of course, I analyzed a lot of those, games and experiences. I believe that obviously each negative, because I call it negative, even some people don't, come on, how many silver medalists in the world? It's also a great achievement, But since I always like to set the very high goals, so for me, it's kind of negative experience because I consider this I lost something. I haven't achieved something what I wanted. I've given everything and I didn't reach it. Yeah. So, but looking back, and because again, I in essence, again, it happened, we were leading 2-0. So, and when it happened several times, it's like a pattern, it's like, what's wrong? Why it's not working? Yeah. Then again, life is going on. And I just understand that if it didn't happen, then it meant to be in a different way. So I let's say, directed my energy, my ability to achieve things, into study, into my professional career, into my family, into other things. And I remember that when I was in Athens and I, was receiving my medal and was amazing atmosphere in the venue, lots of people. And I knew that, it was watched by 1 billion people on television. And I knew that I would never have this moment in my life again because I already taken the decision to finish my career. I had lots of injuries. I just could not anymore. And I wanted to dedicate my life already to my family, to study. And this feeling, and I thought to myself, I haven't won yet my gold medal. So, and that's what I'm trying to say, that, I haven't achieved in sport something, but then everything what I've done after sport career pushed me because I felt unsatisfied, and I felt like I still haven't done something that would make me feel, happy. It's not about happiness. It's not the right way. Of course, I'm happy. It's about like this kind of feeling of achieving something, because I guess if you are an elite athlete, we are all very competitive. You need to win. We are hungry. We are selected for that. So it's in our blood. So like, what's the point, of going to Olympics if you don't want to meet the gold medal, right? So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that looking back and analyzing this experience, I even sometimes grateful that I haven't won my gold medal there, because perhaps I would, stop there. Okay, I won the gold Olympic medal. I've achieved everything. So, and I wouldn't really push myself to develop other skills. I wouldn't push myself to explore other avenues, to look broader and see life in a different way.
It's so interesting what you're saying, because many thoughts come to my mind. For example, what you're saying about a silver medal, a silver Olympic medal. For example, for us in Chile, to go to Olympic Games it's a dream. I hopefully dream that we can someday, some century, go to Olympic Games. So it's very impressive for me, and I think for many players around the world, to be able to dream to go to the Olympic Games. So I asked, for example, Cecilia Taid on from Peru. They won the silver medal, and they told me very similar as what you're saying. They won the silver medal, but they lost the final. But they are, you are Olympic medalists. So it's from my point of view, it's impressive. It's incredible. I admire you and envy you because it's so for us something so impossible to achieve. But the other side, I understand perfectly what you're saying about your inner feelings, your emotions, your willingness to win a gold medal, but not be able to do this. But it's something that many sports person who have played volleyball or any sport at high level will understand this. And the other thing that I was thinking about, what you're saying about this give you the strength to continue, to make other things, to do something else, and to have this for you to be inspired to make other things, to grow, to be with your family, to do things in life after sport, or maybe in sport that is related to this search for gold. It's a very tricky word, but I understand it perfectly. And I wanted to ask you, jumping to what you told me right now about what did you do after you played in the national team and played volleyball, because I know, and I followed you many years ago on LinkedIn as part of the international federation, doing some important things. Please tell me what did you do, or what are you doing now after your active life as a volleyball player?
All right. So in 2004, when, after the last whistle of the Olympic final, I basically stopped playing for the Russian national team. Yeah. And at that time, I already met my future husband, who's German by nationality. So, and it was for me clear that I need to take decisions. So I moved to Germany.
Okay.
But before doing that, I also pragmatically, was thinking about my future life in a new country without speaking a word of German, and what kind of career I can build, living in a totally different environment than what I've used to live before. Very close, very protected sport. Where everybody would think for me, and here I am. And nobody would care about my sporting career in the past in Europe. So I took a very cautious decision that first of all I need to learn foreign languages. Well, I could speak English already, but I knew that to work in English and to be able to communicate, I need to seriously, study it. So I went to London and I took a business course at King's College, where I took a business course, European studies. So I took a few courses to improve I also did the Cambridge proficiency to improve my English, and also to study, to be able to understand also what kind of, because I had a degree from a Russian university in economics, so I already had a good basis. So I thought, okay, if I need to do postgraduate education in English, so it has to be probably linked to either business or economics, and I was interested in these topics, and I considered studying at business school. So I did several options, I had several options, but then at the same time, I always thought I really want to stay in sport. This is so close to me. How to combine both? I want to be in sport, but on the side of business marketing, event management and so on. And it happens that obviously Switzerland is a home of the entire Olympic sport. It's a home of the IOC, International Olympic Committee, and most of the international federations. So it's a kind of a hub for international sport. And I also obviously realized that I need to continue studying. I need to get a degree, postgraduate degree. So, and I came across a very interesting master in sport administration in Lausanne, in Switzerland. So after spending 2 years in Germany, where I intensively was learning German, actually, I have to say. So it was also a goal. So
did you learn German?
Yes, I do. I do speak German.
Fantastic.
So I was learning German, and then I thought, okay, I'm ready now to move to Switzerland for and to get this degree in Master in Sport Administration and develop my career further, because it was been already like 2-3 years since my sporting career. But I continue playing in Germany on a, let's say, recreational level, one could say, for me, but it was a Bundesliga, the best league you could get. You know, I played
Germany, absolutely, yes.
yeah. So, but I played without any kind of big commitment. I explained that I'm here just to support, so I have my goals. But you know, it was good to stay in shape. You know, to be with the
And which
girls.
team
And
did you
I
play in Germany?
in
which
Wiesbaden, I think.
Wiesbaden, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I moved to Switzerland to do this course, a master. So it's a 1-year program. And first I thought it would be something temporary, you know, I just would come back to Germany to my husband, but then I got an opportunity to work here. So first as an internship, I actually got internship in the International Olympic Committee. And then I got a job at UEFA, Football Association.
Okay.
And that's how I started my career. And what I really liked about that, because, you know, when you are an athlete, you have certain expectation. Yes, you got certain let's say, dosage of glory, of recognition from fans and so on. But then it's very, very quickly fades away. You know, people tend to forget you have not visible, you're not playing. So, and particularly here, nobody cared that I played volleyball for Russian national team. Seriously. Yeah. Only when they saw that I was tall, they would ask me, you know, are you a basketball player or was it volleyball? So, and I wouldn't even go into details, you know, whether, and that's the point that, you know, I started developing certain skills and knowledge and expertise in the field that was not related to volleyball. I worked in football and I worked in marketing and selling sponsorship and developing brand and being an event manager. So it's a totally different direction. I still remain sport, but I was doing something else, and people appreciated me for who I was, and not just because of my sporting career. And that was amazing experience. And then there was this opportunity to join FIVB, International Volleyball Federation, because all these federations are literally next to each other in Lausanne. And I immediately accepted it because it's again, volleyball is my life. I love the sport, but I already worked on volleyball as an expert, as a person with a knowledge in sport marketing, of sport management. What I learned in football, for instance, I could bring in volleyball, you know, when it comes to, I don't know, brand or fan engagement, or you name it, like many things that we've been doing. So, and I implemented a lot. And yeah, so I joined FIVB in 2009, and I worked for the FIVB until basically last year, January. So nearly 13 years. Yeah. And it was amazing experience. I actually went, you know, through, like, in terms of promotion, you know, like a journey from being a manager to director of marketing department. So when, you know, I left, I was a director. And currently I'm working as a commercial marketing director in International Boxing Association.
Boxing? Okay.
Yes.
a tough sport.
Very tough. Yes. But I haven't lost the connection with volleyball. Okay. Last summer, I worked as a technical delegate at Nations League. So it's also another experience, because one thing to be on the marketing side, another thing to be in a kind of, you know, technical, where you're close to the roots of the sport, close to the athletes, close to the, I don't know, coaches, teams, and then so it's another experience, and I really enjoyed it very much, and I plan to do this year as well. Hopefully, a few appointments I'm going to have.
It's very amazing to hear you, because what you have done and what are you doing? It's, for me, part of my life. I work also in advertising and design and marketing, but you work in sport, you work in volleyball. I envy you. But it's fantastic to know, because especially sometimes the great players become trainers, for example, but not all great players become part of the federation, for example, or work in marketing for the sport. So it's very amazing and fantastic what you have done. Especially, I think it's my personal opinion, what the federation have done this last I don't know, 10, 15
10 years, yeah, basically.
It's incredible for the massification and the communication for volleyball around the world. I humbly try to do something for the same. I try to honor players from the past, players from this day. Try to make the players, as you said, that maybe some person didn't remember, make them visible. I remember, for example, interviewing a player from Brazil, Marcelo Negrão, Olympic champion in Barcelona, his trainer, and he told me that sometimes he shows his young players, some videos, and they ask him that's you playing, and they didn't know him, even that Brazil, the volleyball is so popular, it's so important. So for me, what you have done in the federation, the VNL, it's so important, because today we have social media, we have the technology, and we see, for example, that sport like NBA, for example, basketball, tennis, even golf or Formula One, make so many efforts to spread his communication, his championship. So it's a tough and very hard work for the federation for volleyball to be part of this this sport presence in the media. So it's for me a passion also, even as volleyball. And what you have done, I have followed you in LinkedIn and many events. It's fantastic. I give you my best feelings about this. And I wanted to ask you now about today's volleyball, because volleyball, when I played volleyball in the 80s, has changed so much. We have many new rules, even the thing that, for example, you're as middle blocker. I was also a middle blocker. I'm shorter, but I played in the middle. And I love to defend. I love to receive. I love to be part of all the game. Yeah. Today, the middle blocker goes out for the libero, and we have many changes. Volleyball is today spectacular. It's wonderful, but it's different for people like me. What do you think about today's volleyball? Do you think volleyball must keep searching for new changes, or it's perfect as we see it today? What's your opinion about this?
Well, it's a very good question, because I basically, when I was playing in the 90s, and I went through all the transformations that volleyball went through, you know, from the change of the color of the ball to the change of the uniform, change of the rules, because when I started playing until 15, so a change of introduction of libero, and as a middle blocker, of course, when I started playing, I was learning everything. I could receive, I could defend, you know, I could do everything. So we needed to be all-round universal players. Yes. However, you know, with introduction of libero, so this role has changed. So, but everything has changed. You know, when for instance, new rules were introduced, and it immediately changed the tactics of the game. So you don't have any more time to think. You need to, you know, it's a different type of concentration. It's a different type of preparation. It means, you know, for the coaches, for everyone. So it's like you need to change completely the planning and how you prepare the athletes. So it was not an easy transition, but I think we managed to do well. And now it's difficult to imagine, you know, how could we play with the old rules. So I believe, yes, sport needs to evolve, and it's good that it's been done. And the reason behind this, of course, the broadcast, because volleyball was unpredictable for television. Yeah. And, you know, in order to, because we cannot avoid commercializing the sport, because that's the key. You know, we're talking about marketing, being present in the media and so on. And at the same time, we need to sacrifice maybe sometimes certain things to make this product, how do I say, adapted for the needs of the media, of television and so. So and the broadcasters were always saying match shouldn't be longer than 2 hours in order to fit into programming. So in order to keep this timing, so the change of the rules was required. So that's how it's, it's humming. There are certain influences and impacts from whatever various stakeholders that make those changes. Of course, athletes and coaches sometimes resistant, but once they, it's introduced, it's okay, it's normal. And now the same, for instance, when the Hawkeye system was introduced, the challenge, video challenge. The same thing, it's an amazing tool, I think, because it makes the game much fairer. And fantastic. I can tell you the statistics says, that nearly 50%, 50 of all the decisions taken by the referee are wrong. And it's not that the referees are bad. It's just so that, the game is so fast, it's so intense, so dynamic that with a naked eye, you just simply can't see everything what's going on. That's why we need the technology, and it's great that technologies are available, that we could use them and so on. However, it's made the game a bit longer because there are lots of interruptions. So there are all these constant search, on how at the same time keep the game compact, but at the same time so uses technologies and so on. For instance, last year was introduced this timing between the last whistle of the referees and end of the rally and the serve, right? So 15 seconds needs to be respected and so on. In the past, you can walk slowly, do what you want. So now you have to keep the tempo because volleyball players like to hug, to everybody actually is surprising. But for me, it's like, it's a culture in volleyball. We love to hug, it's normal, give five and so on. So the referees need to speed up the game to keep it. So if you look at the men's volleyball, it's becoming, women's is bowling becoming athletic and so on, but men's even so. And the rallies are always not too long, so that doesn't make game maybe very attractive. There's been discussion on changing the rule for the serve, maybe not to allow such a strong, impactful service that completely destroy the game, or, increase the volume of the ball. There've been lots of studies potentially, that could potentially help to improve the game, because what the spectators love, long rallies, beautiful volleyball, with beautiful tactics and strategy. But if you have just like, okay, serve, bad reception, serve, bad, it's not a game, it's boring. So, and at the same time, also we are talking about fan engagement. So the volleyball has lots of so-called dead moments when between the rallies nothing happens. So that's where basically entertainment came into place, and the music is an integral part of the show nowadays. This is also important, change, and also affected athletes at the beginning. They didn't like music, or what is this? It's too loud. It's this. Now they cannot imagine being without music, and spectators also. If the match is without entertainment, I'm bored. I want something to happen and to have some actions. I want to see fans being engaged, supporting, do kind of choreography and all kind of stuff. So it's all not. There is always a reasoning behind, sometimes it's not easy to accept. Sometimes people think, oh, why is this, why that? But if you look at that objectively, you look at certain data, you look at the fact that the game is actually seen mainly by the fans through broadcasts, through streaming and so on. And we're talking about the millions and millions of audience, that could watch potentially the match. That's why it's important to make this, the changes and the rule to keep the game attractive. And fans are becoming also very impatient. They need they can switch into other stuff. Why should they stick to volleyball, which lasts 2 hours?
Yes. Absolutely, and with social media, the Instagrams, life is so fast today. So I understand it must be very, very hard for you and the colleagues to take decisions, because we all have an opinion about this other thing in volleyball, the rules. It must be very, very tough and difficult to be part of this. But I agree with you that volleyball today is more a more spectacular game to see. Even when people don't understand too much the game, it's more entertaining. The transmission is better and better. Even when I have some opinion about the TV transmission over the net, but it's my personal opinion. But the broadcasting, the campaigns from the BNL for the championship, it's amazing. And people who doesn't play volleyball always tell me that volleyball is one of the favorite sports to see. For example, in Olympics. In Olympics, it's so beautiful to see the best teams playing. And my father told me, he's as I told you, he was a player and volleyball trainer. He told me, for example, he liked today to watch more volleyball, women volleyball, because in women volleyball the matches are more
longer. The
rallies are longer, and men's volleyball, the power of the players, the power of attack, the power of serve, it's so impressive that sometimes you see only as you're saying. So, but even this in women's volleyball, you see more strong at serve, more high blocks, more impressive players, from Brazil, from Serbia, from Italy. I don't know. It's impressive what the evolution in volleyball is doing for our sport. But I think it's amazing. I love volleyball. I always have loved volleyball. I sometimes I'm a little more nostalgic from past volleyball, for example, from the 80s. I don't know. I played in the 80s, so for me it's my volleyball. But to watch volleyball today, it's so amazing, and to be able to see so much volleyball, and the TV and internet. I think it's a good thing that you have done, you are doing, because I think it's the only way to make it. Because as I told you before, the other sports, for example, NBA, the NFL, NHL in the United States, have doing these things from many years before. The spectacular, between the games, the show, the music. But I think volleyball, it's doing very, very well. So I wanted to ask you now, Elizaveta, about your thoughts about your rivals. For example, we spoke that when you played Olympics or the European Championship, the World Championship, you played, for example, against so strong team from China, United States, Italy, don't know, Brazil. What was the team that you're, for example, like the most to play against, or the you didn't want it to play? Because sometimes you have a rival and you wanted to play because you know what how they will attack, how they will serve. Did you have some teams that you wanted to play or not against?
Of course, and those teams that you named were like the best, US, China, Brazil, and Cuba, of course.
Cuba,
exactly. And I'm saying Cuba because Cuba at that time in the 90s, that probably was the team that, you can win against China, against Brazil, against US, against Italy, but Cuba was so dominant at that time. I had a feeling that like you need to do zero mistakes.
Yes.
You need to be in your best shape. The entire team needs to play like one, and hope that Cuban team would make mistakes, because they did a lot of mistakes. And this was an opportunity, to win against, because they were so physically superior, so strong, physically, literally, like I'm tall, I could jump, but Torres, but Carvajal or Fernandez, they could hit the ball 1 meter higher than me. So there was like this lack of, we couldn't match. They were so strong. It's incredible, and when there were these matches where we were winning against Cuba, it was like the achievement, we're like, oh my God, we bet Cuba. So therefore Cuba was, of course, this amazing, opponent that you kind of always, and it brings the best in you, because, like to play against Cuba, you need, to play impeccably. Yes. While with other teams, they all have different style. China always was difficult for us, always, because they have obviously good power and attacking, but amazing defense and so on. And our game was powerful, but maybe a bit slower. So our main attackers would get tired quickly, if we couldn't get the ball to the floor, and the Chinese would kind of, so it was, and they were fast, very fast. And, Americans also were athletic, but I think technically we were more superior than American teams. So, and that's why we also had a certain advantage. there are different, in Brazil, of course, it's a constant rivalry, constant. But I think with them, we had a sort of like equal, like sometimes they win, sometimes we would win. But in a major competition lately, I mean, it was like, of course, famous semi-final against Brazil. I don't know if you remember, we were losing 1-2 in Athens, 2004.
Yes.
And it was a 24-19 for Brazil in fourth set, sorry. So they needed 1 point to go to the final. So we won this match. But then as a revenge, Brazil won 2 consecutive Olympic Games. But it already was without me, But what I'm trying to say, it's life. It's like that, But sometimes you also need to have a certain generation of players. There should be a dynamic. It's not coming like, just because of the name of the country,
Absolutely.
You need to. It's a generation. Cuba is nowhere, unfortunately, now, So it's all, you get this great, let's say, schools of volleyball in those countries. So, and they keep a certain level. But in my particular time, we had this team, we had that team, we had these players, and when I played against Brazil, they also had an amazing player. So it's like that, yeah.
Yes, I think also the mental strength helps so much for the teams. Sometimes you have a great team, a very total team, but your mental strength is not enough to beat, for example, Cuba. I have the fantastic opportunity also to talk with Mireia Luis, and I asked her about why did you shout so much? Why did you every game was like a war against your rivals, even that with your rivals, your friends outside the court. And she told me what we are speaking about, the not also the physical differences is sometimes it's important, but the mental strength to be able to destroy your opponent is so important. And they show this team that you play against was a destroying machine of rivals. So
they were. I mean, if you look at every single player, from Mireia to Ruiz to Bell, Hernandez, all of them. I mean, Costa, Aguero. I mean, it's incredible. A team of superstars. On each of them on their own, like was an amazing player. So technically well, prepared, physically, I mean, mentally very strong. They were coming on the court, they were already dominating, the way they would enter, it's like all this part of the...
Absolutely. I could speak hours about volleyball because I love volleyball, and in my house they think I'm crazy, but I love this, and I as I told you, I trying to do humbly my contribution to massification, to history of volleyball, because I think today we have the chances to do it. For example, myself via YouTube and my social media channels. So I wanted to thank you again, Elizaveta, for your time, for your willingness to speak with me. I think also Henriëtte Weersing, who gave me your contact. I also interviewed her, a fantastic person, fantastic players. And Henriëtte, Gabriela Perez-Dolar from Peru, gave me her consult. So I love this network, volleyball network that we are creating. It's amazing. And I wanted to thank you again, send you many good wishes for you, your family, and your projects in boxing. I hope you come back soon to volleyball, and you can make so great a contribution. I'm sure about this. So I send you a big hug, my best wishes for you and your family, and invite you to keep in touch, to keep, if you can, speaking and talking about volleyball that we all love in this crazy world.
No, thank you very much for this invitation. I just wanted to mention that I actually published a book last year. The book is in Russian, but basically I covered in my book everything we've been talking about with some details. And I do hope that, my publisher has plans, we want to translate it into English, and hopefully even into, we're looking into Latin American as well, maybe even Brazil. That would be really something, again, for me, next step. And it was another milestone, I'm very proud of, because it was also not an easy project. And I was writing this book myself. It was not written by journalists, but by me. So it's a very personal and very kind of emotional book. And so I do hope that this will be available in different languages, and that my non-Russian speaking fans could also read about, in a way, history also, because I tried to document certain details about, the trainings and Karpov. There is a whole chapter dedicated to him. So therefore I do hope that my book will reach a wider audience.
Okay, well,
we'll
look for it. We'll look for it, and if it's in English or German, I don't know. Hopefully in Spanish, we will contribute to spread the links to buy it via internet. So feel welcome to do it. Thank you very much, Elizaveta, and it was a pleasure and an honor to know you.
Thank you, Alfredo. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.